My name is Dustin and this is Dusty Ohio Video Productions. Today we're going to be talking about Kneecap. Let's roll that intro and get started. Kneecap is a 2024 film that follows the hyper-stylized and partially fictionalized origins of the hip-hop trio bearing the same name. The general plot of the film could really be summarized in a few sentences. Mowgli Bap, Mo Chara, and DJ Pravi are all Irishmen, are all talented in music production, and are all dissatisfied with the English governance over their Irish land. They channel this aggression by composing hip-hop songs that are all in the original Irish native dialect as an FU to the English, and through distribution of drugs at their raucous concerts. And that pretty much summarizes what the film's about. There are truthful elements to the founding of this group within the plot itself. For one thing, Mo Chara, Mowgli Bap, and DJ Pravi all are the actual members of the group and they all play themselves. Another incident that's true is that DJ Pravi was a teacher before he started this full time, and Mo Chara was indeed arrested, and during his interrogation he did refuse to speak the English language and instead spoke the Irish native language. All those elements happened in reality as well as the film. Another element that was carried over from reality is the nature of Kneecap's concerts. From what I've been able to find online, the real life concerts are just as ruckus and they do involve just as much drugs. The concerts also do have that same sense of rebellion against the English upper class that the film conveys as well. There are some fictionalized elements within those core story ideas. However, all of the subplots serve to bolster that main idea, which is the Irish resentment against the English upper class. And rather than wreck the film's pace, they bolster that main idea for one thing and add a nice change of atmosphere from the constant chaos and pseudo-anarchy that the group engages in. Specifically one side romance plot that I don't want to get into as it will spoil things if I do. But just know that that was a nice change of pace. The story of Kneecap is the quintessential outlaw archetype that is found through a lot of media, whether that be literature or movies or music, whatever. With the exception being instead of having one anarchist type character bucking authority, you have three. With each action that the group takes, they are challenging the status quo of the English law that is encroaching on their home country. Much like American hip-hop groups engaged in bombastic behavior and language to get their point across, Kneecap, both as a musical group and as a film, does the same thing. Their antics and coarse mouth get the general desire of independence for Ireland out into the rest of the world, who would most likely be unaware of their plight. This applies to myself. Now, while I certainly don't feel like I could give a presentation or write an essay on the geopolitical nature of the relationship between England and Ireland, I at least now, having known nothing before, feel I understand some of the Irish resentment. The trio's persona is a double-edged sword which the film captures very well. While they entice some who are dissatisfied with the social order, they also alienate certain individuals who would be sympathetic to their cause otherwise and agree with their general opinion on Irish independence with their profane language, their drug use, their drug distribution, and their sort of chaotic antics. And the film does a great job showing that there's certain people that align with them ideologically, yes, but they disagree with their methods of conveyance. Another thing I really want to mention is that I knew virtually nothing about this film going in. I tend to check showtimes for random stuff that's showing, and I'm like, oh, there's something called Kneecap, what's this? I looked up the trailer, but I didn't really pay attention to it. I just basically thought it looked kind of interesting visually. I really had no idea that Kneecap was a real professional music group. Now, with any profession, playing yourself is a really risky move, but here it pays off very, very well. Never does any member of the trio have that glazed over look as if recalling a memory. They all live in the scenes and act like they're going through it for the first time. I personally think the fictionalized elements of the script and the subplots that again were partially fictionalized added to this, as it allowed them to disassociate from a lot of instances that were true to their real lives. Regardless of the reasoning for why they're able to pull it off, casting them as themselves worked out great. I thought leaving the theater that they were just some unknown professional actors, perhaps unknown to me because they weren't from the United States or something along those lines. And man, I was very surprised to learn that they were actually the real members of the group. They deserve a whole lot of kudos for that. The film was partially written and fully directed by a man named Rich Pepiat, and he also made the trio's music video Guilty Conscience. Both the film and the music video contain fast cuts and a general spirit of rebellious angst in terms of editing, often feeling like a ketamine-fueled adventure, which I am sure was the intent. However, this can be abrasive within the first 10 minutes, and I kinda did find myself getting annoyed at first. It could be compared to the Safdie brothers films like Good Time or Uncut Gems in this regard. It takes time to settle into that more quickened, drug-fueled pace than it would for a more standardized movie pace. However, this is not a bad thing because, much like the Safdie brothers films, after that first 10 minutes, when you allow yourself to really get into the movie, you start to feel a little bit of the character's high, almost as if you're doing drugs with them to a small sense, and the film creates a sense of vicariousness if you allow yourself to sink into the atmosphere it is trying to develop. As of recording this video on August 14th, 2024, Kneecap is my favorite film of the year. Now, that is obviously subject to change, as it is early and there is a possibility it will end up not on my list at all. The Oscar bait movies come out in like October through December, so it's entirely possible that it might not be on my list. That being said, Kneecap is a very unique experience and is the most unique theatrical experience I have had this year. The script feels like you're watching these characters' lives rather than a typical point A to point B storyline. And going back to the side plots, again, I don't want to get too much into them because I think it's good for you to go in fresh. But these side plots add so much definition to the emotional state of these men as they're going through these various challenges. If not interested in the political landscape of Ireland, I still think this movie is worth your time. As I stated, I knew virtually nothing about that going in, and I still loved it. And I didn't love it for the politics. I loved it for the characters and for the filmmaking style and for its unique approach to basically everything. So if you take characters that are empathetic and combine that with a script that is very well written in both terms of structure and dialogue, add into that visuals that are hyper and chaotic with a editing style to match that criteria, and finally conclude it with some anti-authority music, you get Kneecap. I really like Kneecap. If that sounds like a film that appeals to you, I think you should go see it. My name is Dustin. This is Dusty Ohio Video Productions. I am signing off. Please like, please share, please subscribe. I plan to be doing this for a while. If there's a specific film you'd like me to review, I'll try my best to do so. I'm in Ohio, as obviously stated, and sometimes we don't get things till much later on. This movie, I believe, appeared in certain parts of Europe back in January, and we're just now getting it now. So it may take me a while to get to it, but that doesn't mean I'll ignore your request. Later.